I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a moment of silence, please.
Councilor Coles.
Here.
Councilor Strata.
Here.
Councilor Shamp.
Present.
Councilor Chamberlain.
Here.
Councilor Sturts.
Here.
Councilor Fry.
Here.
All members are present. We have a quorum. Okay.
We have approval of prior meetings minutes. So moved.
Second.
Motion moved by Councilor Coast and second by Councilor Fry. Councilor Coast.
Yes.
Councilor Fry.
Yes.
Councilor Strata.
Yes.
Councilor Shamp.
Yes.
Councilor Chamberlain.
Yes.
Councilor Sturts.
Abstain.
5 yeas, 1 abstain, motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Before we move into individuals wishing to change, address council, we are going to change our order of business here. Mark needs to leave early, so if council doesn't have any objections, we would like to move on, and I'm afraid Mr. Dennis is not here, which is unfortunate for this. We would like to move on to first reading. Does council have any objections to this at all? No?
It saves you money.
He said it saves us money. So.
That's what we always do. I'm paying double that right now.
There's no objections. No objections to doing the item. Okay. So we are going to move on to first reading of legislation, and then we will bump back up to names of individuals wishing to address council and finish out our order of business in that manner. So, first reading of legislation, we have ordinance 2015-11, and I'm going to let Mark, before we go into that, discuss any recusals or anything that needs to be addressed.
Thank you. Two things for the council. One, we discussed at a prior meeting the issue of recusals. If any council persons perceive they have a conflict of interest, a recusal would be just a statement that you may or may not have an interest in the outcome of legislation, in which case you can recuse yourself from participation in the vote and deliberations relating to the matters subject to council. Number one. Number two, you have in your packet, I believe, 2 alternative legislations. Typically, when you receive this is legislation affecting a recommendation made by Planning Commission. So when a recommendation comes to council from, for example, Planning Commission, it invokes certain actions on your part, either to accept their recommendation requiring a straight-up majority vote, or a rejection of their recommendation requiring what we'll call the supermajority vote. So you've been presented first in your package a motion to accept. Historically, you would probably typically accept it, so that explains the order of the presentation in this case. You may take action on that. If that piece of legislation passes, there'd be no need to proceed to the second, rejecting. So it's up to you in terms of how you move and vote in that regard, and if there are recusals, that may affect the voting totals. Fair enough. Any questions from council? I'm here to handle those for you.
Do we just recuse in the vote, or do we?
You can recuse at this point. That issue is before you on the table as an item to be presented and moved into business. So you would probably want to recuse at any point in time here. You could do that.
Okay. I guess from the Ethics Commission's advisement that I need to recuse myself because of where I live.
Okay, so we should state those. We should state those on the record. So,
and same here. Not go to where I live, but doing business and relative.
okay.
So we have 2 that are recusing themselves from this vote.
So yeah, so Councilman Sturts and Councilman Fry would state their recusals. So for purposes of moving the legislation before the panel or participation in the deliberations or voting, then you just would review yourself. You don't have to go anywhere. You can stay right here. So there you go. Any other questions or from the other participating? Yes, sir.
Is there any discussion on this? Or is it
There
just
was.
straight?
After
Well, yeah.
after I read the
Yeah. I'm sorry, I assume you move something into business, there's a second, and then that proceeds to the discussion section.
Right. So what I'm going to do is just read the recommendation from the Planning Commission 2015 and go into discussion. Ordinance 2015-11, an ordinance accepting the Planning Commission's recommendation that codified ordinance chapter 1117, establishment of district and maps and the official zoning map not be amended.
So moved for first reading.
Second.
Motion moved by Counselor Shamp and second by Counselor Coast. Is there any discussion?
Sure. Just, I guess, based on the evidence that I've seen so far, is that the building was originally, or the land was originally purchased as an R2, and the request is to move it to an R3. The main differences between the R2 and the R3 is that you can do split properties, and in this case, double up the amount of occupancies that we can put in that parcel. From what I got out of it, the major issues were sidewalks and sewer systems, based on the amount of traffic that's going to be presented there. R2 has already been approved, so it sounds like, but there's already an issue with the sidewalks and the sewers as is. So it sounds like something we need to kind of focus on in the next few years to get that fixed. But as far as I can see, the R2 has already been approved. R3 might be a bit more of a strain. So in my case, I would suggest that we accept the Planning Commission's recommendation. But that's just based on the evidence that I've seen and read so far. If those things change, then maybe it can be revisited on.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Estrada?
Yes.
Counselor Shamp?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain? 4 yeas, 0 nays, ordinance 2015-11 passes on first reading.
Thank you. If you need any further assistance in this matter, please feel free to let Mr. McGuire know, he knows where to find him.
Thank you.
Thanks, have a great night.
No speeding tickets back there.
Until I get there. Talk my way out of it. Have a good night.
Thank you. We'll move back up into agenda, and we're going to go back to names of individuals wishing to address council. And we have Zach Riley, candidate for Clinton Township Fiscal Officer. Zach.
Mayor Huner, members of council, I appreciate a moment to introduce myself this evening. As the mayor said, my name is Zach Riley. I'm a certified public accountant running for the Clinton Township Fiscal Officer position. I've had a long-standing interest in public service, and when I found out that Judy Warnke wouldn't be running for re-election, I thought that this would be an excellent opportunity to use some of my skills to help the community. Obviously, I'm running for a township spot and not a city spot, but I kind of feel like they do go hand in hand somewhat, since Clinton Township encompasses the city of Wausen, and there are relationships regarding the fire department and equipment type such as that. So I guess some of the qualifications that I feel that I have, along with the training that I have as a CPA in governmental budgeting and finance, I also act as the treasurer for Riley Tractor Parts on Linfoot Street here in Wausen. So I have a lot of experience with negotiating purchase contracts and service agreements and that type of stuff. So I feel like I could be of a benefit to the township trustees in helping them negotiate any type of deal that comes up. Hopefully helping us save some money for the township and spreading our dollars around. I would really appreciate your support and would be honored if you would elect me to serve in that position. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Committee reports. Since we had park board.
Are we, any other members of, we normally open up to any other members of the public that wanted to speak. Are we doing the same tonight, or?
And we had nobody else on the agenda that wished to speak.
Okay.
That came forward.
We normally
Stated
ask.
that.
We normally ask if.
Well, Shane, no one came forward prior to the council meeting and said they wanted to speak, so.
Just normal practice if we ask.
Park
board. What's that?
I didn't know that was the known practice that we were putting in place
Well, we normally
tonight.
joke and ask the press if they have anything to say, isn't that asking the public if they have anything to say? All right, moving on to Park Board. What's that?
Anything else?
We got Park Board report?
That's what I asked for,
Okay.
was committee reports, and, yes, let's
Okay.
go.
Yes, Mayor. Park Board, we met on October 13. We took the show on the road. We had our meeting at Homecoming Park. Members of the Park Board that were present included Bill Drummer, Dave Carroll, and Paul Harmon. At the meeting, we got a chance to look at Homecoming Park. Dave Murray pointed out a couple of improvements that he would like to make to the park shelter house itself. One of those being the replacement of the ceiling tiles. He pointed out some improvements to the shelter house during our meeting as well. He did indicate Rotary, of our two big shelter houses, Rotary is reserved more often than Homecoming. Dave talked about putting handicap parking spaces in front of Imagination Kingdom. The restrooms that are being rehabbed by the Rotary Club are near completion. Those restrooms are at Rear Park. Dave Carroll pointed out the midget football program is in need of a building at Biddle Park for storage and to sell concessions. They're in the process of developing some plans. They'll show those plans. It was suggested to them to Park Board and Building and Grounds once those are completed. Dave Murray said a tree commission would like to meet with Park Board for a joint meeting, and we're trying to get that arranged for November 10th. And Park Board members had general discussion about their winter meeting schedule. So no recommendations coming forward tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Department head reports. Chief?
Okay, for the fire department, main thing we're working on lately is the negotiations with the EMS contract with Fulton County Commissioners, which we've got down to a resolute situation. It's currently in the hands of the county to finalize anything final with that. There's been a press release issued by the county in conjunction with the fire chiefs. It's been printed in several of the local papers to explain the levy, but it hasn't been printed in all of them yet. So hopefully that's done fairly soon. The fire department has their new Twitter account active, and if you can go on for Wausen on Fire on the Twitter, you'll be able to see a live run log that's conjoined with our new website, so you'll be able to see our activity and what we're doing as far as when runs are dispatched out. And one warning for the public is there's a fire warning, an outdoor fire warning issued this week due to expected high winds, warm temperatures, and low humidity. We've been answering several field fires all weekend and already twice today. Some of our fires have been in standing corn, so it's been kind of destructive nature. And we need to remind people not to be outdoor burning, especially for the next several days when the temperatures are expected to increase and it's supposed to be very breezy. And that's all I have.
Okay. Your fundraiser went well?
Yes, fundraiser went well last weekend, and we're planning on doing that again.
Okay. Chief Torbert?
Oh, I'm sorry, but the police department doesn't tweet yet, but maybe at some point in time we will. A couple of things. One, I wanted to let you know that one of our dispatchers has put in her resignation. She's moving on to Sylvania Township. We wish her the best of luck. Tanya Merv will be leaving us as of Wednesday. We'll be giving a civil service test here the first Saturday in November to fill that spot, as we do not have a current active civil service list for that position. Also, I placed in front of you a letter that we've developed. As you know, I am the president of the Ohio Association of Chiefs of Police. We met in conjunction with the Buckeye State Sheriff's Association and the Ohio State Highway Patrol, and have come up with this letter. We've sent it out to all 88 counties and all of the law enforcement agencies in Fulton County, along with the county prosecutor, have signed on an agreement in opposition to issue 3. I'm not going to read over the page-and-a-half letter. I have sent it out to all the press. but we're asking the public just to vote no on issue 3. Regardless what you feel about marijuana, it's just bad all the way around. And I think by looking at the results in Colorado, it's very evident that we don't need to go down that same path. We will be pushing for that, and hopefully that goes down November 3rd. And I think that is all I got for tonight. Huh?
Okay, thank you. Carol?
Just working on some updates. The Planning Commission meeting next week, they had asked for some inquiries into if we've had any R4 development. Just working on that. That's it.
What time is that meeting?
The meeting's at 5 o'clock.
Thank you. Dennis?
The new LED stop signs for North Fulton and Walnut Street just arrived yesterday, so the guys will be getting those up. Out at the water treatment plant, the clarifier, repainting the clarifier bid is out, and we open those on November 10th. At the water reclamation plant, the screw pump project started today. Peterson Construction was on site and installed the bypass pumps and are going to change the gates, which is the first step in the process. And tell your friends, tell your neighbors that Public Works guys are going to change over from doing brush to doing leaves November 2nd, Monday, November 2nd. There will be no more brush pickup until leaf collection is over with. They are canvassing the town currently, and we'll have the town covered prior to Halloween weekend.
We'll have that on our webpage too, correct? That'll be a good thing to look up on the schedule and maybe on the billing.
Yes.
Great. Anything else, Dennis?
So that'll do it.
Okay, thank you. Jamie?
I wanted to remind you that our new water clerk is starting on this Wednesday. If you guys are in the building, welcome her. I've been working on making negotiations that will be starting tomorrow. And that's all I have tonight.
Tom?
Been working with Rick on finalizing the revisions to the EMS contract, which is in the hands of the county prosecutor. Hopefully that will be just a few more days. We'll have that in a pretty complete format. And working on closing out the real estate deal with Mr. Riley. Have a closing late this week, early next week, just resolving some legal title issues and that sort of thing. And still working with Clemens and Nelson and the folks on staff with respect to the job classifications and compensation plan. And we're hoping to have that, we'll be getting that to probably, once we've got that in the shape that we'd like to have it, we'll get that to personnel with the eye towards getting that approved by council eventually and having the job classifications that need to be reviewed by civil service to them as well by year's end, so we get that in place. Thereabout, give or take. I think that's it.
Yeah, quick question,
Yep.
back up one to Jamie. Who's the new water clerk?
Her name is Andrea Gerken.
Andrew Griffin?
Yes. She's from Wausen.
Can you back up 2 spots to Dennis?
Yes, now you gotta pay your water bill, so.
Is there has the contractors giving any sort of date as to the start of
No.
the street? Okay.
No, we've got, as everybody's seen, Ohio Gas Company or their contractors, they're changing over the mains. And U.S. Utilities showed up to start moving the support poles for the traffic signal lights.
I didn't notice that.
But no, nothing from our prime contractor yet.
Just curious.
So those are just still potholes, not trenches.
Okay, so moving on, we have nothing under second reading, nothing under third reading of legislation. New business, does council have any new business to share at all? Okay, I actually have nothing under new business myself, so we need a motion for approval of bills.
So moved.
Second.
Motion moved by Counselor Shamp and second by Counselor Estrada. Counselor Shamp?
Yes.
Counselor Estrada?
Yes.
Counselor Coats?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Sturts?
Yes.
Counselor Frye?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Motion moved by Counselor Chamberlain and second by Counselor Sturts for adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Me too.